everyone, George here, and it's great to be able to give you another video from the GFS gallery. It's been ages since I've last done this. And I wanted to give you a big update on my Aquascaper 1200, which I think is reaching its peak. There is a complete playlist on this Aquascape, all the way from stripping down the previous Aquascape to creating the hardscape, planting, even dealing with algae issues, the equipment, techniques, etc. So if you want to learn exactly how we got to the point where we are now, do check out that playlist. I'll leave a link at the top of the screen and also in the description. I want to run through a lot of the plants in here in more detail. There are some brand new plants that you may not have seen before, so we'll look at those. And at the end of the video, I'll just wrap up the kind of techniques that I've used and the kind of methodologies that I believe in that have helped create the success that this Aquascape has become. So the foreground carpeting plant is Helanthum tenellum, which is the Tropica 1-2 grow tissue culture plant. This is actually quite an easy carpeting plant. So if you don't have CO2 injection, you can potentially use this as a carpeting plant. It does appreciate a soil substrate, and I'm using the Tropica soil product, proven performer. I've been using this for years and countless scapes now. And it is a bit of a brute. It's a fast grower. You can see the root structure there. It's sending out runners, and it quickly can overtake a foreground and does need keeping in check, especially in a high energy system like this with lots of light CO2 injection, plenty of liquid fertilizers, etc. But I think a really beautiful plant, really nice kind of bright green, lush appearance. And like I said, a fairly easy plant as well. So if you don't have a particularly high energy or high-tech system, this is a plant that you might want to consider for the foreground. Just behind the foreground of the Helanthum, we have a mixture of different Cryptocorini species, and I wanted to show you this one in particular. I'll get a macro close-up of it right now for you. This is actually Cryptocorini spiralis red, which is from ADA, Aqua Design Amano, and this came in a tissue culture cup, which I actually got from Aquarium Gardens. So I wanted to show you this because it's absolutely beautiful, and it's just started to show the bright red, and then there's like a green spine, which is absolutely stunning. And then just in front of that, we've got some Cryptocorini Wenditii green, which is in the Tropica 1-2 grow again. Just to the right of the Cryptocorini spiralis red, we've got the Anubias mini coin here. This is actually Tropica again. This is the limited edition range. So Tropica are releasing these limited edition plants, testing them out in the market, and if they are popular, then they may consider producing them full time. So I like this. It's much more of a rounder leaf than the regular Anubias petite, a slightly smaller leaf shape as well. So really love this version of Anubias. Okay, next I wanted to show you a super rare plant. This is Anubias needleleaf. Very privileged to have this. This is actually grown in the Tropica laboratories as a test plant to see how kind of successful it could be. Very, very slow growing, needs to be in the shade, otherwise it gets algae. Reminds me of the Bucophalandra needleleaf, mini needleleaf. I think it's beautiful, and who knows, maybe it'll come into production at some point. Just beneath that, the needleleaf Anubias, we have some quite rare moss. This is Taxiphyllum mini Christmas moss, I believe, or maybe it's a vesicularia. Let me know in the comments if you know. But this was actually donated by Dave from Aquarium Gardens. He's got this growing like crazy in a moss-only irigumi. It's doing really well in here. Really like this compact growth and beautiful kind of fronds, nice bright green colour. And I am a big fan of mosses. I don't tend to use them too much in aquascapes because I find them quite high maintenance, but this is a particularly beautiful variety. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit and talk about some of the plants to the left-hand side of the aquascape. So, as discussed here, we have the Helanthum tenellum at the bottom, and then just above that we have some Anubias petite, which is a well-known version of Anubias small leaf variety. Over to the left here you can just make out some Hygrophila siamensis 53B, classic weed. I'll get some close-ups of that and the limnophila as well, which you probably can't see right now. And then we've got good old trident fern here, one of my favourite plants of all time. Actually labelled as an easy Java fern, but it's the most demanding in my experience. It does do better in higher levels of lighting and I believe needs CO2 injection to thrive. You could probably grow it without CO2 injection, but it wouldn't look as compact and as attractive as it does right now. You can see the mini coin anubius here, and then we've got some Bucophalandra red just up here as well. And I really like this section of the scape. It's lots of complex textures, lush green colours, hardly any algae, and you know, the mixture of the wood and the rocks and the planting, I just think looks really natural and a real kind of classic nature aquarium feel to it. Okay, let's take you through the right hand side of the scape. Again, we've got the Helanthium tantalum foreground. There's a mixture of Cryptocorynes here. We've got Undulatus red, we've got a different Wenditii species, got some more of that mini Christmas moss, some Bucophalandra there on the end, bit of wood, some needle leaf anubius, some more anubius, some more trident fern coming up here. And then towards the background, we've got some Rotala indica. You might be able to just make out this compact, I'll get a close-up of this, real nice round leaf, turning red on the tips as it's getting more closer to the light. Behind that, we've got the Limnophila hyperoides, which is a fast-growing plant which will turn more red, like most red plants. The more light you have, the more red it will go. And then behind that, we've got the classic Hygrophila siamensis 53B, and then a load of different crypts kind of crammed into behind this area here. So it's a classic kind of triangular layout here, so starting off lower at the bottom and then leading up towards the left. And I actually have moved this aquarium. It was originally designed to be viewed from the left this way, but it still looks great looking at it from straight on as well. There you can see a nearite snail, so these are brilliant for keeping the hardscape free from nuisance algae, but unfortunately they tend to lay these white eggs which are a little bit distracting, but I'd rather see the white eggs than nuisance algae, so it's a trade-off that I'm happy to live with. Unfortunately, Livestock are very camera shy right now, but we do have this beautiful glow light tetra here who's just hanging around nicely for us. The thing is, with a heavily planted tank, the fish tend to feel a lot more secure. There's obviously more hiding places for them, so potentially they don't come out so much. You can see the bubbles. These are oxygen bubbles produced by the plants because they're photosynthesizing so well. A combination of the high light, CO2 and nutrients and circulation allows the photosynthesis rate to be high enough to saturate the water with oxygen, so any extra oxygen that's produced by the plant results in pure oxygen bubbles, which you can see right now. so thanks for watching towards the end of the video, really appreciate it. As promised, I thought I'd run through some of the basic equipment choices and the methodologies that I've used to help create this aquascape. There are videos detailing the equipment in more detail, but the equipment is designed to support the 5 pillars of success, I like to call it. So starting off with the lighting, we've got the TwinStar 1200 SA. This is regarded as quite high lighting, so we need to balance that with good CO2 and good nutrients. So we've got pressurized inline CO2 injection, which has given us around 25-30 parts per million. Good circulation and filtration, and that's provided by 2 Awase Biomaster 600 thermos, which I absolutely love. They come with the quick release pre-filter and built-in heater, which are marvellous features. Why I use them pretty much exclusively in any aquascapes that I create these days. Substrate wise, we're using the Tropica aquarium soil, which I talked about before, proven performer. Liquid fertilizers, I'm using the Tropica Specialized Nutrition at a rate of 20 millilitres per day, and that's dosed automatically with a D&D P1 single channel doser, which is Bluetooth controllable, really simple to use. And the aquascape itself, we started off with a really strong hardscape. Like I said before, check out the playlist and you'll see exactly how I created that. Photo stone and beautiful driftwood. And then planting. If you have watched the previous videos, you know that I started off planting probably not heavily enough, not densely enough with fast growers, which is why we led to the algae issues. Put loads of weeds in there, the Hygrophila siamensis 53B, the Limnophila hyperoides, full carpeting plant with a fast growing Helanthium tenellum. More water changes, these help to eliminate the algae issues, and now we've got this super lush aquascape that you see now. So that's definitely part of the success story, is planting really heavily with faster growing plants. The plant list, we've just gone through that earlier in the video, so no need to go over that again. And all these kind of things just add up, to a successful aquarium. Not forgetting maintenance. Ideally you want to be changing at least 50% of the water once a week. And that water change should always be the last part of the process. So clean your glass, do your substrate maintenance. So although we can't vacuum the substrate like we do with the old school kind of gravel vacuuming, we can kind of just wave our hands gently above the soil. That will lift up the detritus, the organic waste, and then we can siphon that out as part of the water change. And this limits the organic waste accumulation that can otherwise trigger algae growth. Daily fertilizers, which we talked about with the auto doser, the big weekly water changes, trimming the plants appropriately, not running too much light. So I'm running 8 hours of the TwinStar light here. This is on 100% now because the biomass, the plant mass, is capable of dealing with all that light. If we only had a few slow growing plants in there and we hit that with 100% lighting, you're more than likely going to trigger algae growth. So just a reminder for those that are new to the channel, algae is pretty much the #1 enemy of a planted tank. And if you think about algae and plants always in competition with each other, the better we look after the plants, the more plants we have, and the faster growing those plants are, the less chance of algae we get. So this system is all based around promoting the healthiest plant growth and minimising the nuisance algae growth. There is background levels of algae in here, which you will experience in most natural systems, but as you can see, it's not enough to negatively impact the whole aesthetic of the aquascape. So I really love this scape. I hope you do too, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I really love creating this one. It's not often I've managed to find the time to get my SLR camera out with the decent lighting, etc. So really nice to spend a bit of time and a bit of effort on the editing and the production value. I love having the time to be able to do that. Speaking of time, for those that are asking questions in the comment section, you might have realised I'm not spending so much time answering people on the comments. I just literally don't have time. I am focusing a lot of time and attention on my book right now. Some of you may know I'm writing a book on aquascaping. I am very soon going to be releasing a huge update video on plans for 2020 with regarding a book, a world tour, reef tank. It's going to be a really interesting video. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, and when I do upload that, you'll get notified when that comes out. And there's some super exciting news for 2020, so look out for that. So I'll just end by saying thanks so much for watching, guys, to the end. Thanks for putting up with my rambling, as always. Really hope you enjoyed it. Really appreciate you watching my content. I love to inspire as many people as I can with aquascaping. You take care, keep on scaping. Cheerio.